Ну чё, здорово? Здорово, чуваки, с вами снова Индиана, уже в 3-й раз за сегодняшний день. Да, бью рекорды. Сделала себе божественный напиток. Привет, Энджело, привет, Константин, и привет, Владушка. А, Ладушка, меня вообще слышно? Скажите мне. Меня вообще слышно? Нормально? Игра не громкая? Может быть, этот? Неплохое переиздание классики, но было бы совсем замечательно, если бы эти жадины добавили сюда еще сиквельские The Jungle Book и Покахонтас. Переиздание. Я бы не сказала, что даже это какое-то переиздание. Это даже. Они говорят, что это ремастер, но это даже. Они типа в 1080p. Что-то я там ни хера не видела ничего в 1080p. Это. Я просто уже смотрела, запускала там, что вообще, как, что, куда. И он какой-то. Ну, это просто игры Сеги. Все. Игры Сеги. Самые обычные. Вот когда Сеги играли, вот точно такие же, те самые версии. Потом вообще ничего не изменили. Я хер его знает, короче. Ну, 2 игры, Aladdin и Король и Лев за сколько, считайте? За 515 рублей в Стиме. Вот так. 515 рублей. 2 сегишные игры. Это при том, что игры весят... вот этот как бы бандл у меня занял 1,9 гигабайт. Ну ладно, будем говорить 2 гигабайта. Что тут может весить 2 гигабайта? Я не знаю. Даже если все, наверное, игры Сеги собрать вместе, на 2 гига там не выйдут. Короче, я нифига не поняла, почему она 2 гигабайта есть. Причем в системных требованиях, в минимальных системных требованиях стоит i3. И тут я тоже не поняла, зачем тут нужен вообще нафиг i3? Даже как, в минималках. Даже игры Сеги. Камон. Вот такое вот странное переиздание. Сейчас мы посмотрим, что тут у нас еще есть. Я его страшно хотела только из-за Аладдина. Потому что я большая поклонница Аладдина, игры вот именно Сеги. Вот. И на ПК та же самая, по-моему, версия была. Только там на ПК сверху вот этот был. Плашка такая, панель. Вот. Она мне очень сильно нравится. Вы можете, кстати, посмотреть мое прохождение на канале. Оно есть. Aladdin на самом сложном уровне. На харде. За 35 минут прохождения. 35 минут. Да. Чё, кажется, я бурбону перелила. Вау. Вот это вкус. У меня же это... в правой части головы отдалось. Капец. Так, там Денис подошел. Привет, Денис. Что у нас тут вообще есть? Так, саундтрек есть. Тун-тун-тун. Забавно. Скажите, что надо громче сделать? Игру громче, меня тише, игру тише. Что? Жопошный уровень, конечно. Так. И тут есть саундтрек из Короля Льва. Не знаю. Это вообще тут музей тут есть. The making of Aladdin into the studio. The making of Aladdin a playable cartoon. The making of Aladdin one job ahead. The making of Aladdin birth of the classic. Playing the movie. The digital process. Арты тут есть. Вот такие вот интересные, смотрите. Джинни. Забавно. Movie Arts. Я что-то в игре этого не помню.
What people don't realize is that Aladdin was really a triple threat. Virgin, us at Virgin, we were making the game. Disney, we had all the Disney animators and the Disney license, so they were, very well vested in the game. But then Sega, they loved it so much that they wanted to help distribute the game with us as well. So it was really like 3 huge powerhouses all working on one game.
We sort of built this cool team who really cared about animation, and we made a game called Cool Spot for 7-Up.
I was part of Dave Perry's team, and we were doing the Genesis SKUs of games at the time. So we had done Global Gladiators, and then we did Cool Spot, and then we started working on Jungle Book, which that was one of
Про
my
Jungle
favorite
Book,
Disney
кстати,
movies of all
говорят.
time, so I was really excited to be doing that.
So if you're from Disney and you saw how lovingly we were making Jungle Book, I think that was a surprise to them. They probably looked at that and went, okay, these are the guys.
I was doing a bunch of Mowgli animation and monkeys, and we were just sort of getting into
Сейчас они
it.
уже такие
And then
старпёры, а
the
тогда,
Aladdin
представляете,
thing
были
came
молодые,
out of the
наверное,
blue.
такие.
And so our team, Dave Perry and myself and our group, got pulled over to Aladdin.
They already had started Aladdin with another developer, but decided to give it to us.
Basically, my understanding was Disney came to Martin Alper, the president of Virgin, and says, hey, we've got this product, and the current developer is sort of failing. They brought us in, I think it was almost like 20 people maybe, with you.
20 человек.
Basically said,
Интересно.
go. Okay, what do we need to do?
You see how the world works, it's kind of strange. You can't quite just jump to say, well, we'll just do Aladdin. You have to sort of weave your way to it. You've got proof you can do cell animation in a video game. You've got artists that clearly can do very high quality Disney animation. And then music, our music was going to win awards again. We're on a roll at that point. Aladdin was just this flow of each game we did sort of gained more and more energy and attention on our team. We didn't have much time to do Aladdin. We did it in about 99 days. It was one of the fastest game developments ever.
We had to have it
За 11 дней они сделали?
by the
Ничего себе.
time Aladdin came out on video that Christmas, because they were going to put in a flyer, remember? They were going to put in a flyer in 10 million Aladdin VHS tapes saying, and buy the video game. So we had this massive deadline.
We just pounded out.
Нифига себе, они флаеры ложили в ВХС-ки. Типа, покупайте игру! То есть у них эти сроки были очень сжатые. Ну, блин, за 11 дней, конечно, они могут. Если я, конечно, правильно расслышала.
Everyone was united by desire to work with Disney, work with this company that's pushing new boundaries.
I mean, our goal really was to do justice to the movie, which was a huge hit at the time.
We were going to take hand-drawn animation, scan them in, and then color them in,
Сканировали в эти нарисованные, потом раскрашивали. А вот, кстати, показывают.
That they had experimented with digitizing and getting into the computer and then playing on a Genesis.
О, господи, эти знаменитые компьютеры тех времен.
Engine and had yet to put a really big license to it. And so it was like the big license meeting the perfect engine at the right time for this little brief window.
Yeah. Just the pipeline for the animation was a pretty major hurdle. I was shuttling back and forth between Irvine and Florida, where Disney was at the time. I was still pretty green, and they sent me down to Florida to try and teach these feature superstar
Отправили его в Флориду, чтобы его подучить, потому что он был совсем новичком, зелененьким.
We burned a lot of time in the beginning figuring out how to make it look the way it was supposed to look.
I think as an artist, you always look at your work with a critical eye and you're never totally happy with it.
There were a lot of people, especially at Virgin, that were losing confidence in our ability to pull it off. And so it wasn't until the stuff started coming in and looking good, and then started coming in fast enough that it was clear it was going to get done, that everybody kind of relaxed a little bit.
We'd all like design games and been around games, so we just started adding our own ideas, and Dave would just incorporate them.
In the lamp level that you did,
Yeah.
was that in the movie?
No, that wasn't. That was one that was totally not in the movie.
It was the parts.
Yeah.
You recognise the parts in it, maybe
Yeah.
from like some of the more abstract
yeah,
moments in the movie.
yeah, we got the graphics were from the movie, but the actual, Aladdin's actually inside the lamp kind of thing, and he's jumping around on the genie's body, which really I don't think there was anything like that. Disney just accepted it that's necessary to make changes to make some gameplay.
But it looked like it belonged
He
totally.
did, yes.
Because you use lots of actual genie parts, right? You have the flicking finger, you bounced
Yeah,
off.
and there was the big letters. I think at one point there was like big letter, like Roman numerals on columns of that. I think that was also.
So the
in
imagery
movie.
looked very familiar.
It was all from the game,
Yeah.
all from the movie, yeah.
I always feel, I just wish we could have more time.
I like to fix the camera. Yeah, the camera's so jerky. Like, we didn't realize it at the time.
Действительно,
But
тут
Dave
он прав,
hadn't
да,
figured
с
out
камерой
that the
бывает
camera is the
беды.
engine yet. So now when I look back at Aladdin, you jump, the camera's going like this.
We did more professional testing than we'd probably ever done. It meant that we were running these focus tests. We were watching through glass and watching
That's
kids
right, I
play,
remember.
and we would argue it's too easy or it's too hard, and then you would see the kids having a really, really hard time, and that settled all the arguments. Who cares what your opinion is? We're watching a bunch of kids suffer right now.
Во, какая хорошая логика. Действительно, что, блин,
These kids are suffering, please fix it.
вот именно.
I had
Почините
a
эту
special
херню,
screen
дети
that I used
страдают,
for
да.
testing the games that we would use on the team.
Какой хороший
Type in a
подход у
code and my
человека.
face would appear. And it was just what I used to sort of really, really hack the game and play and test and jump wherever I wanted. It turned out this actually really helped for my career, because people start to recognize you from the game.
The code gets out.
Because people find our cheat codes, they find how we've been making the game.
Well, actually, I would leak them to the press, actually.
Because the game was moving so fast, everyone was excited every day by what they were seeing. It was feeling good.
Я почитаю ваши комментарии обязательно, сейчас досмотрю.
I don't think we realized it at the time, but the fact that that group of people got along as well as they did under the amount of pressure that they were under and performed their jobs without killing each other is pretty amazing. It was actually really,
Да,
really,
сейчас бы
really
разработчики бы ныли. Ой, как
And I tell you,
тяжело,
the group of
ой,
people
ой,
I worked
ой.
with in
Ну, люди
Florida, that's like one of the
как-то
best groups of
срабатывались,
people I've
работали
worked with.
вместе.
For us, I think it was like a brotherhood. We were all passionate. We were all young people. None of us were really married or had kids, so it was our whole life. We were so passionate
Вот оно
about
чё.
making
Семья
the
мешает, да,
best stuff
разработкам.
possible. And when you have 7, 8 people all like that in a room together, it's pretty amazing, pretty magical.
I think what's important on a team is that you respect the talent of the other people.
Totally.
Because what occurs when that happens, when an artist draws something and you're like, oh my God, it looks really good, it actually creates this, it's not just respect, but it, I don't know, somehow
Не, ну нарисовано
feel
действительно
really good about the
охуенно.
people you're
Как,
with.
ну,
And
блин,
if anything, I would
мультики
define it as you
действительно.
feel lucky to be there. You feel lucky that you're surrounded with this group of people, and then they look around and they feel the same thing, and I think ultimately you end up with this very tight team. Because of that, everyone was just delivering. That really made this whole thing work well.
Just remember all the people. I think it's the people that really hit me, and just the craziness of. I still work in the video game industry now, and it's very.
Он до сих пор работает в игровой индустрии. Интересно, а другие тоже работают?
Everything was unusual, especially when they brought so many Brits over. They put us all in the same apartment complex.
Oh, that's right.
So it was like an oasis. Right? And you just get pizza and everyone come over and eat. We'd all hang out at each other's places.
In terms of how well we got along, or how the quality of that team, we went on to do other projects together and stuck together. We definitely had a good.
Well, you and I, we've been working together ever since, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
For Virgin as a company, they became a much bigger company, and they had a lot more opportunities, a lot bigger opportunities after Aladdin, because they showed what they could do. They got the Lion King game, and they got some other games, and they were able to bring in more people and more talented people and do bigger projects. And I think Aladdin opened the door for them.
After Aladdin, you could feel the company growing.
После Aladdin можно было почувствовать, как разрастается компания. Блин, ну вот это, кстати, это классно, что они в такие видео сюда поместили. Вот это интересно. То есть как разрабатывали, как все это делали. Ну, то похвально. 20 человек работало. 11 дней, да? То есть им нужно было уложиться к выходу игры на ВХС-ках. Ну, блин, круто. Они такие милые все люди. Такие прям энтузиасты. То есть любят свое дело. Приятно на такое смотреть. Так, а здесь разве нет версии этих игр с Game Boy и европейской NES? Не помню, надо будет посмотреть, но тут Король Лев только, по-моему, американка, европейка и японка. А Aladdin, по-моему, нету с Game Boy здесь. Да, с Windows 45. Насколько мне известно, в этих играх с рисовкой персонажей помогали художники из Disney. Но видишь, он как тут говорил, его отправляли во Флориду, вот, к художникам, где он учился, короче, его учили. То есть, блядь, у мужика не было, ну, тогда еще молодого парня, не было опыта, его учили, отправили учиться. Классно. Но рисовано, как вы сами видели, блин, рисовано вообще супер, как будто, ну, действительно, как вот из мультика взято. Прям. Потрясающе. Мне очень понравилось. Отличное видео. Ага, тогда соционики не было, нельзя было пойти к HR и поныть, что у тебя коллега несовместимый и токсичный. Вот-вот. Вот это мне нравится, что как бы, ну, люди работали, да, как вот они же сказали, что все были талантливые люди, да, иногда смотришь, говорит, там на работу, как человек, например, нарисовал, да, и ты говоришь, нифига себе, это так круто сделано. И все талантливые люди, как бы, и все уживались в таком, как бы, под давлением работы, и при этом никто не ноет, что ой, это было так ужасно, да? На нас издатели давили, ой, как все плохо, и поэтому получилось такое говно. Ну, норм. Не знаю даже. Молодцы. А сейчас все такие прям нежные стали, прям, ой, куда там? Один, блядь, с другим не может ужиться. Чё говорит? Два композитора не могут вместе ужиться. Один, блядь, другому мешает. Охрененно, да? Еще и друг другу палки в колеса ставят. Вот это я сейчас считаю не норм.
The very first time ever where somebody could legitimately play an interactive cartoon. It was hand-drawn art. It was an interactive cartoon.
Our goal really was to do justice to the movie, which was a huge
Директор по анимации,
We could use
конечно, молодец.
everything that's good about the movie.
Художник
There was no restrictions.
по
Allow us
бэкграунду.
working directly
Ну,
with
посмотрите,
the movie studio rather
супер,
than
как
through
классно,
a
блин,
game publisher.
классно.
The biggest challenge was just being true to the art
Художник и
style
аниматор.
and keeping everything on model and making sure that it looked, that it was up to the standards that we all knew to be Disney standards.
They hired Disney Feature Animation to do the hand-drawn animation.
Our team was incredibly excited about that because to have a team full of animators that work with pencils, to have them work on the Disney project at this level was incredible. But what we didn't understand was they would actually give us access to the people who made Aladdin, the directors, the animators in Florida, for example. That changed
Прикольно.
everything. Our lead animator, Mike Dietz, ended up going to Florida and working with the Disney animators.
As an animator, getting to deal with Disney Feature Animation, getting to fly down there, work in the Disney animation studios with like some of the greatest animators on the planet and learn from them and just be around them. Like they set me up with like a desk in the Disney animation studio and I'm sitting there drawing and I'm going, what is going on here? It was like a dream come true.
Their stuff was great, and it was really inspirational, and we learned a lot about color and how they used it.
Because a lot of times some of the images can be quite simple, but they work, they're balanced, they're doing things you're not really seeing, you know, but they're communicating to you, and they're just very, very talented. You can tell you're dealing with very, very talented artists, so it's nervous.
It's pretty unfair for the rest of the industry, right? It's like, you know, if you're an animator and we've got Disney feature animation on our team.
Well, so the way we worked
Ну да, читеры.
was, because animation is so expensive and it's a multi-step process, the first thing you do in animation is you do a pencil test, which is just a rough drawing. And then normally if you're making a film, you would watch the pencil test of the film and go, oh, we want to make these changes to the animation and make these revisions and add this here and take this out here. And then when you're happy with it, then you do a cleaned up version of the drawing. And then you look at that, and then you ink it, and then you paint it and color it and finish it. That's a very expensive process. And
Конечно,
you wouldn't
очень
want to
дорогой
go
процесс.
through that process
Еще бы.
on something that you're not
Не то, что
sure
сейчас
is gonna
на
be
компьютере
okay.
нарисовал.
So what we had developed, a little bit on Jungle Book, but it really started on Aladdin, was to take those pencil test drawings that we were getting from Disney that were not finished, and we would digitize those and flood fill them white, and then put them in as sprites in the game. And then we could test it. We could play test it, see what was working, see if the mechanic was working at all, but also see if the animation itself was working. And then, when it was, only then we would move on to the final.
What we would do, we would take these, you know, images from Disney, and then I think I would just paint it without thinking too much about the tiles and breaking it down. So I'd paint the bigger shapes, and then after that I would try and figure out, now how do I make this into a tile set, and how do I make it efficient so we can actually fit it in the memory of the game.
And then once you got it to that, then you'd have to go in and clean it up, and then sometimes it was still kind of crunchy, and then there was a whole process of going in and touching up the stuff that wasn't looking real great. That was just a frame-by-frame manual process. That was really difficult because you had to have someone who had a sensitivity towards both animation and pixel art so that they could touch up
анимацию,
what
конечно,
was
раньше
there
делали.
without like drawing over it and losing the subpixel movement. For me personally, the biggest challenge was educating the feature film animators who were used to animating
Тёрно,
24
как
frames
стало
per
проще
second, having as many
нынешним
frames as they needed to, no
разработчикам,
restrictions.
чем было раньше,
Teaching them
конечно.
what the restrictions were
Сейчас намного им
animating
проще.
for a video game, and some of the techniques that we used to use to get around those limitations, and then try and like get their superpowers as amazing animators to execute these techniques that we had developed to get the best out of the limited resources we have and make the animation feel like it was Disney feature quality animation, even though it was far less frames and, you know, just crunchy resolutions. It was a process, and it was a process just figuring out what that pipeline was, and then once we knew what the pipeline was, like to actually just run all that animation through that was time consuming and expensive.
What's so impressive is the fact that with the limited palette that was on the Genesis, we were still able, I felt, to sort of faithfully reproduce what the animated movie had, the colors and the
Кстати,
look and the
версия
feel
для
of the
Nintendo,
artwork.
для
And
нинтендовской
that
версии
came
мне
down to the
совершенно не
fact that
нравится.
We did have really good source
Aladdin.
reference material from Disney. We had
Вообще,
big
ну не знаю,
printed out
совершенно не
frames
понравилось.
of the movie right the way through the movie, so we had a lot of reference, which was something quite unique. Up to that point, we didn't have a lot of reference for games.
When you looked at games back then, everything looked kind of angular. You know, platforms and girders and crates. And so people would have a tendency to draw in squares or along that line. And with Aladdin, seeing those backgrounds, I think we were the first to really break that. We created more large shapes of buildings. You couldn't see the tiles, it wasn't so obvious. We were really trying to capture the spirit. That was tricky, that was challenging. And sometimes it's funny, you go back and you see stuff, and I know my kids will be looking at Aladdin and they go, did you do that, Dad? Did you do that? And you can't remember. Like, that's how closely everyone managed to get their styles. So I'd look at something and go, oh, yeah, I think I did that, but Steve could have done that, or Lynn could have done that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think, yeah.
I've got a memory that I could have done it.
I remember certain things I did, but I don't remember everything.
Back then, it was like, what? How are they doing this? The animation was the smoothest the industry had ever seen.
You knew, hey, this is a very special game we're working on.
And the amazing thing is, if you put in Aladdin today and you play it, it holds up. Now,
Да,
how many
согласна,
video
да,
games 25 years later can you say graphically can hold up and you can still find it interesting graphically. And that's why I knew it was going to be a big hit. Because it
Не
looked
только по
like
графике,
nothing. I couldn't
играется
wait for
хорошо.
people to see
Вообще во
it.
всех
Sometimes
смыслах
you just
игра, конечно, очень приятная. И в музыкальном, и в графическом, и, блин, очень классно. И в геймплейном. Ну, великолепная игра. Не знаете, я вот обожаю Аладдина. Сколько в него играю с детства, до сих пор вот, не знаю, нравится мне.
We, as a team, weren't too used to a design document. It's not that we don't want one, it's that we believed very strongly in just playing something and feeling if it, like, if the design document said Aladdin jumps half his body height, that might be helpful, but does that feel good? And so we would go, yeah, no, it doesn't feel right.
There were elements of the design document, if I went back and looked at it, that I think made it in the game. A large percentage didn't, because it just evolved.
And so everything was tuned based upon what we just thought felt right. And so then the level starts getting laid out based on the limitations of the device. So whatever the
Версия
design
SNES
said,
какая-то
we're going to have some
халтурно-блеклая на
repetition
фоне
of things
сеговской.
because that's just
Да.
how the platforms worked. The game
Геймплей
ended
там
up
вообще
building
дурацкий
itself
просто.
based upon what felt good or what fit and we could
Вообще
squeeze into
неинтересный.
the device.
We were designing on the fly, and Disney was approving it or not approving it or giving input. So it was an organic process.
Обычно как бы наоборот, SNES-овские версии самые такие
The
топовые.
biggest challenge to program a game like Aladdin is actually to get Aladdin, the character, to fit into the console when you have potentially thousands of frames. How could you ever do that? The way a video game console worked back then is you would draw a box around that character and that whole thing would get stored. So Aladdin was actually the worst case designed character ever because it's a person with a big long sword. And when you hold out the sword, it makes a box like this big because you got Aladdin and the sword doing this. And so it caused us really to think very hard, how could you possibly crunch all these big giant characters into the game?
The real breakthrough was Dave's sprite system, which could take non-square characters and break it down into little parts.
My tools engineer, Andy Astor, he made a tool for us that basically just did the most amazing job of cutting out all the bits that weren't necessary.
Боже мой, еще
and
на
also
старых
looking for any
компьютерах.
little bits that
Какой
were the
кошмар,
same.
как это,
So
блин, вообще
if
было все
Aladdin's ear
сложно
didn't
сделать.
move between two frames, it would actually save that part and we'd reuse the ear from previously. And so there was this sort of massively clever compression going on.
And no one had really done that before, so we could have big stretchy frames of animation.
Making it possible to have larger shapes that could change shape on the screen rather than just saying, hey, this is like a 4x4
Yeah.
sprite.
I personally spent a lot of time early on in the project working with Dave to figure out how we were going to get these drawings down to these sprites with giant pixels in them and have it still have that sub-pixel movement and still look like the animation.
I think I remember seeing the very early, Aladdin like run cycle and that up on Dave's machine, and it was just in black and white pencil still, and seeing you could just see it was just so fluid. We'd never seen anything quite like this.
Да, кстати,
before.
действительно, вот у него даже волосы же разбиваются, когда он
Games
бежит
were
там.
very horizontal and vertical before, and we had lots of slopes and angles.
Yeah, it didn't require
Его
straight lines.
одежда, вот
You
это
actually
его
had a tile set that would actually build these little
безрукавка.
lines and would have different angles of these tiles, which would be the thing that the character would walk along. And so we could build different angles, make them go up, and
You could make some one way as well, so you could
Yeah.
you walk on it, but you could jump back up through it.
yes, this is my method. Is like I would take some element of the game, and I just draw that on my monitor, and then we had to make tiles that were 8x8s. And then you could build those into larger tiles that were 2 of those tiles in each direction. That's right, isn't it? So that would be a 16x16 tile. And from there, they were then used to build the actual levels themselves.
When I would look at some of the art that was going to be based on the level art, I would look at whatever I thought was the highlight piece, and I go, okay, I'm just going to start right there, and I'm going to burn a bunch of tiles, like a third of my tile set, to get that one piece looking great, and then try and stretch out.
Yeah, and then you try and use bits of that one piece.
But I wanted to
in
make sure I
other
had
places.
a strong center piece to the level that you go, oh, that looks just like the movie.
It was also interesting in Aladdin, there's one thing I talk about quite often, is how people play video games, they just want to be entertained. And so we worried a lot about the story of Aladdin. Is it going to be important that we tell the story? And in reality, the kids already know the story, but so there's a whole argument, do we really have to tell the story? And we, of course, agreed in the end, yes, we have to tell the Aladdin story.
Нужно рассказать
So we
историю,
had
да.
this
Хотя дети
scrolling
все знают,
once
но
upon
все
a
же
time
надо,
thing.
действительно.
We tested it with the kids, and it was so funny because we're watching a room full of kids.
Они
and all you see is
тестировали
the
на
thumbs
детях,
going
понимаете? На детях
We
тестировали.
don't
I don't want to
care.
read any of this.
Yeah, but
And,
we just spent a week making this beautiful thing.
there was one girl in the room who sat and read all this stuff, and we pulled her out and said, why did you read all this? You know, why did you read the story? And she goes, because I thought it would say something important and it didn't, and I'm really annoyed. So
It's just the story we're setting up.
so it's a very interesting point because there's a discussion of whether video games should be, more about
Narrative.
stories and more about gameplay. I think it was pretty clear at that point in the industry, it was all about the gameplay. Sound is way more important than most teams are ever willing to admit.
This is one thing that Dave really fought for. Audio actually took up the most space of these cartridges. And so if
Аудио
you
заняло,
wanted
говорит, в
more
основном,
memory
говорит,
on your
место на
cartridge, oh,
картридже.
well, that's $3 more per cartridge. And so they never
Но
gave
музыка
music
мое
guys
почтение.
anything. But what Dave would do is he would say to me, look, Tommy, pretend you didn't have any restrictions. What could you get the Sega Genesis to sound like? So me and Dave, I mean, we used priority. We were doing things that no one had ever done before. And then Dave, again, to his credit, he would take that to the president of the company, Martin, and say, hey, look, guys, if you spent that extra $3 or $4, look what we could get this to sound like.
$3-4. Да ладно.
Disney gave me all of these scores, these massive conductor scores.
$3-4. Если, говорит, дадите нам дополнительные $3-4, то музыка будет вот так звучать. $3-4.
Now I only had 6 voices, 6 monophonic voices in the Genesis, and so it was very difficult to take these big scores and kind of putting them like this. So I had to go out and hire a dude, remember his name was Donald Griffin, to take all these massive scores, and then I would get back a MIDI file that had everything broken down, and I would have to then go in that MIDI file and start hacking and doing all my little tricks that I would kind of perfected in the Genesis over the years. The sound chip in the Sega Genesis it's called FM synthesis. It's a synthesizer from the 80s. It was actually a Yamaha chip that they used in the DX7. So it was this really kind of punchy, synthy, had lots of beefy low-end kind of stuff. For an orchestral score like Aladdin, a challenge for me was, okay, I might be able to write a tune or I'd get that MIDI file of everything arranged, but now I got to get this thing to sound like an oboe. Oh my God, how do I get a wow to sound like an oboe? So I would sit there for literally days at a time. Days.
Днями
Come up and
напролет.
tweak all of the different
Нифига
things
себе.
within the chip to get it to sound as close to an oboe as I possibly could.
Да, работают же люди.
At the time, everything sounded very digital in the game industry. You would think of a note as being off or on.
Yeah.
And,
Beep, boop, boop,
it's
doop,
on or
doop,
off.
doop,
Bing,
doop,
bing, bing. He would go in there and hand edit
Yeah.
each strike, say for on a drum, to be just a little
Just a
different.
little off.
Just a little different, just so it
Yeah.
sounded softer and real.
The easy thing to do would just be to quantize everything. So it was exactly
Boom,
on the
boom.
beat, but it didn't have human feel.
Yeah.
And so the only way to get that human feel was to go in and literally tweak
touch it.
every single number and listen and tweak again.
I definitely appreciated the work that was getting done. There's no question. Sometimes he would come in, it would blow me away. I'd be like, how are you doing this? Okay, that sounds like a real electric guitar. And he's like, it is.
Ну, забавно очень, конечно. Понятно теперь, почему игры сейчас такое дно. Что можно может сказать о игре старый саркастичный хипстер. Сейчас бы защитники детей так возбудились, а так всегда, кстати, музыка дофига весит, ее пакует в первую очередь. Да, тогда дети выступали тестерами игр, а не какие-то полусонные бородачи. Конечно, отстоя хватало. Action 52, например. Ага. И этот, как его? Читамен. Но Читамен просто не было такого подхода, как у Аладдина. Если бы у всех был бы такой подход, как вот у этих ребят, то, конечно, игры были бы лучше. Блин, надо найти видео по классическим думам с музыкой. Как его там? Принц, я забыла, вечно забываю. Помню, у него фамилия Принц. Как вот он тоже создавал, считай же, на синтезаторе, там это барабаны должны быть, а это гитары, а это басы, там, а это еще что-то. Надо посмотреть, может быть, есть такое видео. Рождение классики называется. Нужен подход, как в Боши. Ой, в Боши.
I think at the time there was hit and misses with movie tie-in games. Most of them weren't very good.
Yeah, I once had a licensing meeting in Hollywood, and I was told to wait in, to talk to this licensing person, and I was sitting there with literally coffee cups and things like that, and I remember going, "You think video games are a coffee cup, don't you?
Yeah.
Like you're licensing another coffee cup deal."
But Aladdin was the first game where we had full access to the creatives at Disney. This was a milestone. I think it proved to the industry, if you actually put these video game people in a room with the big, talented Hollywood people,
they can work together.
They can work together and make something amazing.
It was so much better than what was expected. Whoa, this game's really good.
Honestly, I think Aladdin was just at that sort of in a sweet spot where Hollywood was really starting to take this stuff more seriously. So that was kind of one of those moments when things changed. At the time, when you made a video game, you would get some magazine adverts. They'd run some adverts, and that was pretty much all you get.
Yeah.
And we once got invited to a press launch for Aladdin in Chicago at CES.
CES.
We were revealing Aladdin at CES, and at the last minute I decided not to go because I felt like I had too much work to do just to get the game finished. And so I didn't go.
I arrived and the doors open, and there's the entire floor is the cast of Aladdin, like all in costumes and people in dancing and all the rest of it, getting ready, and I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here? And I go down and I go into
Ну да,
this,
раньше,
this
мне кажется,
giant
такие игры
room.
не представляли, как
Remember,
сейчас, типа на
Shinobu,
E3
the
или
head
на
of
Игромире,
Sega
да.
Japan, was there. Katzenberg was on stage.
Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yeah, Richard Branson was
at the
there.
time, Jeffrey Katzenberg was the president of Disney. But yeah, Richard Branson was there, and Tom Kalinske, president of
all
Sega.
the press.
This was it. This is a big deal.
It was a
Are
weird
coming
moment because I'd made a lot of games that had, that had good brands and things like that, but I'd never seen what happens when you have that level of celebrity lean in, and having Disney, of course, as well.
I remember everybody coming back from CES, and Aladdin had won like game of the show, and like there was all these accolades. And I remember Doc saying he had never been so proud.
Чувак не поехал на выставку представлять игру, потому что у него было много работы. Вот сейчас современный разработчик бы, кто бы это отказался, да, например, поехать на E3. Он сказал, не, я поеду на E3, мне пофигу, да, там, на работу там есть, нету там. А чувак остался, чтобы доделать свою работу. Все-таки разные, не знаю, такое поколение людей.
They could do no wrong.
Yeah, it was just, it was a really, everyone was excited about Disney movies.
Jeffrey Katzenberg once called me to ask about working on The Lion King, and it was very difficult to
Король
say
Лев
no,
тоже
we're
очень
not
красивая
going to do
игра.
it.
Well, we wanted Lion King
Oh,
so
Lion
badly.
King.
Только геймплей мне не очень нравится.
Because we got to see a special preview of the movie. Flown out to Vegas. Roy Disney was there, Katzenberg was there. It was a big production.
И для ребенка, мне кажется, немного тяжеловато. Король Лев. Не знаю, ну, мне, по крайней мере, было в детстве тяжело проходить Король Лев.
I regret that to some extent because I think we could have done just an astounding job. The people that did handle it were excellent. Westwood.
Yeah.
So they did fine. There was no problem. They got a great game. I would have enjoyed that experience of getting even closer to Disney and seeing where this would have gone.
I want to do Frozen. From a musical standpoint.
Having a daughter, I would love to do Frozen.
Frozen они бы сделали бы игру. Ну сделайте, соберитесь.
Fantasia would have been to work in that world.
В олдскульном стиле Frozen.
Sorcerer Mickey on the mountaintop and conducting the thing.
We felt pretty proud of what we had achieved. It was a good-looking game. It was fun to play. So I expected it to be successful, but I think it was more successful than any of us could imagine. We just tried to meet the quality standard of the movie as much as we could on that, the 16-bit Genesis, just to try and get as much of what the movie was and the imagery, follow it as close as possible.
It was a perfect little storm of all of those disciplines: design, production, animation, art, even marketing. It was the right property at the right time.
I think it's just the visual look and the quality of the game. It set a new standard. It really was a new benchmark, and the animation.
The balance between the gameplay with the look, it all was in harmony. Nothing seemed out of place. The music was great.
Oh yeah, the music was
everything's
really good,
at equal bar,
It was so fun, and to see the final product and get it out, and to see the reception of it was really exciting.
Yeah. Они секрет показали. Надо будет сейчас сделать обязательно тоже этот секрет провести. Кстати, да, Doom, там чувак юзал какой-то кондовый совковый синтезатор, и до сих пор он вроде пишет музыку, юзает этот же синтезаторский девайс, выдает какие-то адские звуки. Не, я про классический Doom, первый два, а про чувака, который ты говоришь, совковый синтезатор, это Мик Гордон. Он юзает Polyvox и Aelito, два синтезатора советских. Да, потрясающие звуки выдает. А этот, как же Пирс, я не помню. Не Пирс, а Принц. Как-то его там, что-то Принц. Вот я бы такой бы видела, действительно посмотрела бы по Думу. Вот такой бы сборник. То есть как бы они бы сели бы, там был бы Джон Кармарк и Джон Ромеро, они бы сидели такие, рассказывали, как там Джон Ромеро сидел, там протирал свои штаны каждый день, пытаясь эти, уровни нарисовать. Придумываю, классно, почему они так не сделают? Хотя говорят, что Джон Кармарк и Джон Ромеро, они поругались до такой степени, что друг друга видеть не хотят. Жалко. Здоров, Илюх. Сейчас разработчики занимаются чем угодно, кроме продуктивной работы над играми. Как дружный коллектив BioWare, который ходит на парады ЛГБТ-сообщества и на демонстрации против Дональда Трампа. Да, действительно, реально, чувак, он не поехал на главную выставку, где были звезды, да, там такие первой величины, как, например, президент Диснея, да, там, то есть все такое серьезное было, там такая, там, с косплеем и все такое, вот. А он не поехал, потому что у него была работа, он не поехал. Хотя он мог сказать, да ну вас задница, я поеду, я не могу такое пропустить, да. Вот, а он остался, потому что работа. Два видео всего осталось. Это реклама. Классно. Господи. И мультик, кстати, тоже классный, мне нравится очень Aladdin, один из моих любимых. Да, но уровень на ковре, это, конечно, да, жопень еще то. Особенно под конец. Когда там одни вопросительные знаки, ты тупо не знаешь, куда лететь. Потому что вопросительный знак. И ты так, боже мой, надеюсь, меня пронесет. Вот, кстати, из такой же подобной, ну, из подобного видео есть классное, рекомендую тоже посмотреть, по Mortal Kombat 3. Да, Mortal Kombat 3. Старые видео, там, по-моему, из 3 частей, где там, ну, Эд Бун, еще Джон Тобиас рассказывает про... И там, короче, показывает, как они снимали этих героев, то есть на камеру, вот, все удары, короче, а потом, как они их вставляли в игру. Вот. То есть, если вы вдруг не видели, действительно, вот Behind the Mortal Kombat 3, кажется, так что-то называется. Там можно увидеть девушку, которая Шиву играла, как она там стоит и перед зеркалом красится, наносит этот ужасный макияж. Так смешно. И Джекс там есть такой, с такими, типа, накладными руками. Ну, прикольно, прикольно. И Соня там рассказывает тоже свои впечатления. Отличные видео, кто хочет посмотреть про старые игры, прям рекомендую. Вот про Mortal Kombat тоже очень-очень интересно сделано. О, про королев уже столько много. Есть, кстати, какие-то уже новые люди. Ну, посмотрим, кто из старых разработчиков там есть. Смотрите, игровые выставки тех времен. Обалдеть. Телеки старые. Вау.
Celebrating with fanfare worthy of the hit film itself, Disney and Virgin Interactive Entertainment.
Блин, можно только подумать, у них уже тогда были такие игровые выставки помпезные. Я об игровых выставках узнала, я не знаю, в 2000-х годах только, что вообще такое есть.
You start working on interactive games. In this particular case, I think the production paths were almost parallel. So we were trying to create sequences from the film, and they were saying, well, we don't know yet. We're starting right in the middle of it as well.
This game was very challenging because we really wanted to meet the quality standard and the natural.
Блин, я сейчас не знаю, но вот этот чувак что-то знакомый.
The style of the backgrounds, the story.
Старый видос.
We wanted to try to get in the video game.
The game developers were also inspired by the film, especially the main character, Simba, the lion cub.
One of the first things we realized was that we could use the story of the movie in the video game directly, because this was a hero's
Жалко не
journey,
подписывает, как только
and it's all
вызовут.
about Simba's trials and tribulations through a variety of environments. We have voices from James Earl Jones, Jeremy Irons, Cheech Marin, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas. So there's a great correlation between seeing the movie and playing the game.
Нифига себе, голоса, представляете, этих звезд, они и Джереми Айронса, там, то есть всех тоже привлекали. Прикольно.
We do the animation the same way we would do a feature animated film, which is one drawing at a time for each of the characters. It's all hand drawn. It's all done by animators.
Вот люди рисуют, обалдеть можно.
Brings a lot of different ideas, and everything
Классно
is
так.
wide open.
Animating a four-legged animal is challenging, especially an interactive character who must respond instantly to a variety of commands.
The cat, if he jumps in midair, wouldn't all of a sudden jump and turn the other way. He'd have some actions where he turns around. Physics would carry him a certain way. So we have to make these things appear to happen instantly and still apply the same sort of naturalistic feel that the film has.
The young Simba has the fluffy paws that they're consistently flopping around. He's happy-go-lucky and playful. So I try to incorporate that attitude into the game. As he ages, he moves slower. You have this 400-pound animal now, so You have to consider the weight. We try to watch
Кстати, молодой Симба, который маленький, еще детеныш, он что, по-моему, у него нет удара лапы, да? Только у взрослого Симбы есть удар.
After Disney perfects each frame of moving animation, the drawings are sent to Westwood Studios, where their artists scan them into computers, then colorize and size them to the game's dimensions.
The environments that you see are actually,
То есть, получается, эти чуваки сначала вручную рисовали, потом это отправляли в компанию по цифровизации, да, то есть они сканировали, оцифровывали эти изображения, потом они отправляли обратно разработчикам, и разработчики уже делали там анимации, помню, как бы, ну, в компьютере все это добавляли. Бля, это пипец, сколько работы, это обалдеть просто. Просто как технологии вперед шагнули, да? То сейчас вообще такой фигни нет. Сейчас вообще никто, по сути, они не делают, не рисуют на бумаге, там что-то оцифровывают. Сейчас все на планшетах, на компьютерах, быстренько раз нарисовал, по сути.
There are two bonus rounds in this game. One where you play Timon, and one where you play Pumbaa. In the film, there's a great sequence where they're eating bugs. And it's sort of gross, but it's sort of funny. So we really try to focus the bonus rounds in the game on Timon and Pumbaa eating bugs.
It's very fast-paced. There's different characters to play, different experiences, new levels, new graphics, and every time you play the game, you'll find something different. In the Elephant Graveyard level of the game, there's a skull that is right out of the movie. So kids will say, wow, look at that. I'm not just watching a game, I'm playing the movie.
We're excited about the Stampede because it's told from a totally different perspective. Young Simba is running directly.
Бля, вот этот уровень, конечно, ну это такое.
It gives the player a chance to become Simba.
Both feature films and Westwood worked really hard to.
На самом деле это очень тяжелый уровень.
A lot of characters. Hyenas especially can jump and snarl and snap and do just a million different things, and it's all very, very beautifully articulated through the Disney animation.
Да они сами играть не могут, вы посмотрите. Еще что-то от детей хотели. Не знаю, мне кажется, именно для ребенка Король Лев, он нелегкий. Вообще совершенно далеко не легкий.
The process we've gone through the Lion King game is really the same as any production. Because you're trying to do something unique and it's never been done before and you can't draw from anybody's experience. It's creative chaos, but the final result is for every part of that process,
Девушки уже были в разработке, вот так вот.
bits of magic that are dripping down, and it's our jobs to sort of catch all that stuff and collect it to make sure that none of it's lost and it's always there to be built on and preserved.
Шевелюра, как у меня у девушки.
That's what makes a difference on the final project.
Забавно. Вот такой маленький, хорошенький, просто чудо. Нала. Ладно. Так, саундтреки игры. И у нас тут есть Console S version. S это что? S. А, сеговская, да? Final Cut версия есть. Что такое Final Cut? Я не знаю, честно говоря. Есть демо-версия. Есть японская версия. Что такое Final Cut? Ну, демо-версия это ясно понятно, японская версия. А что такое Final Cut версия? Что-то я не знаю даже. Читал, что чуваки, которые делали The Lion King, вообще не знали сюжет мультфильма. Так как к тому времени он еще не вышел на экран. Они упрашивали Disney, чтобы им дали хотя бы сценарий посмотреть. Ну, как видишь, ничего, по сути, не упрашивали. Они совместно с Диснеем работали. По сути, как и во время Аладдина тоже совместно работали. Ладушка, ты знаешь, что за Final Cut version? Чем она от обычной отличается? Что там Final Cut? Я не понимаю. Ну, давайте посмотрим, ладно, что гадать. А вот, the following Final Cut version of Aladdin features bug fixes, camera adjustments, and other refinements that were not present in the original release of the game, but represent potential changes that the development team may have implemented had they had more time. We hope you enjoyed this updated version of the classic game. Давайте, updated version of the classic game. Так, а что у нас тут? Full screen. Фильтры можно поставить. ТВ-фильтр, монитор, LCD. Нет, без фильтров каких-либо. Так, difficulty normal, music on, and then tracking default. Что такое трекинг? Tight. Ну, пускай будет дефолт, ладно. Поиграем в обновленную версию с всякими этими с пофиксенными багами, нормальной камерой и прочее. В Аграба, далекой земле ветра и песков, молодая уличная крыса по имени Аладдин должен красть, чтобы выжить. Тем временем Джафар, советник султана, замышляет... Ну блин, ну так нельзя. Джафар, разве ты еще его не нашел? Как долго я должен бегать на этой штуке? Тихо, Джага! Я должен знать, кто может войти в пещеру чудес. Молодой вор! Мы должны выдать ему приглашение во дворец. Рынок в Аграба. Так. Не, давайте мы немного поменяем управление. Мне это не нравится. Я хочу, чтобы джамп был... Нет, джамп был на вот эту. А сворд пускай будет вот это. Потому что throw нам не нужен, по сути. Можно перематывать, видели? Потому что мы будем проходить эту версию. Я вижу там яблоки. А как туда добраться? Я не знаю, конечно, как мы будем... Ой, успел, блядь, задамажить мудила. Ну, что-то я насчет... Вот это интересно. Уровни добавлены. Интересно. мы уже как бы при смерти. А, сука, я его не заметила. Ну, точнее сказать, как заметила, но... А? Что-то не понимаю прикола, а в чем смысл они говорили там? Камеру пофиксили, а что камера здесь? Ну, ёшкин кот. Ну, первый уровень на чисто с мечом мы прошли. Не знаю, правда, как боссов будем проходить. Только с мечом. Некоторых можем, да, посмотреть. Пройти с мечом. А вот насчет остальных, Джафара, например, как? Ух, ёб твою мать. Блять! Вот этого не было в оригинальной игре. Там, короче, появляется только мужик, а сверху эти горшки уже не падают. А тут уже, короче, мужик и горшки появляются. Вот оно чё. Интересно. Ау. Ну, в смысле? Чё, все что ли? Да ладно. Ну как же... Ау. Нет. Где это было? Здесь? Они, наверное, жизнь туда перенесли отсюда. Как можно заметить, тут вон уши Микки Мауса есть, висят. Да. не туда. Нет. Они действительно изменили немного игру. То, что было раньше, теперь... Ну, такого не было. Точно. Я помню. Ну, интересно. Только я не видел, чтобы Final Cut был этот. В этом. В Короле Льве. Его там такого не было. А может быть и есть. Может быть, я не очень внимательно смотрела. Это обязательно надо взять, а то иначе мы там не пройдем. У меня стрим вообще идет? Что-то вы так все замолчали резко. А, вот это добавили. Раньше не было. Туалета для джина. Да. 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 Есть. Ни разу не попался. Отлично, уличная крыса. Забавно. Идет, ну, отлично, что идет. Это хорошо, что идет. О, тут я уже вижу. Да. Что тоже уже добавили. А как туда забраться? Ай! Этой тетки не было. В смысле? Ау, как он меня мог? Я не знаю, как туда добраться в новые эти локации. Да как это? Ну бля, ну вообще обидно. А-а-а! Ай, чешется. Играй с этим на стиках. Да ёшкин кот. Да ёпернитя. Да ладно, не буду. Еще подслушивает, блядь, мудила. Нифига себе он отражает. Обалдеть просто. Просто какой-то Fall Honor, блин. Нет! А раньше нужно было в оригинальной идти пройти туда и вернуться обратно. А, да, вот дудку, короче, мы нашли. Так, мы сейчас будем тренировать. Я думаю, тут можно будет сохраниться. Потому что я, честно говоря, я не знаю, как и без яблок проходить это вот. Но он не прыгает. Не, без яблок не получится. Ну, смотрите. Не. К сожалению. Он начал кидаться камнями. В оригинале он не кидался камнями, то есть кинжалами. Забавно, да? Интересно. Ну он читер, это вообще пипец. А как я должна приугадывать, когда он там будет? Капец.